Hey everybody, I'm back with a new Vara Dark reaction video. This one is about more video games will pander to women. DEI firm says women are unmonetized assets in gaming. Super curious about this. So I'm watching this pretty fresh. So follow Vara Dark, subscribe to her channel, check her out. She is like very good at what she does. Can't sing her praises enough because she is like just the cat's pajamas. Follow me on my YouTube and Twitch channel as I Talkative Carl, as I stream games, react to videos, and review content. By the time you're watching this on YouTube, I should have my Justice League Tower of Babel comic review up on the YouTube channel, so you can check that out, hear my thoughts, and give your opinions. And I will be, I'm fairly soon wrapping up Digimon, and then I can pull my focus into Resident Evil Requiem, because I really want to get back into that. But I want to wrap up Digimon and get that done, and put out a review and my thoughts on the game, and get that done. So that will be pretty much wrapped up at least by some point this weekend, and get that out and done. Anyway, so let's get right into it with Vara's info for new gaming news from Vara Dark. She should run her own gaming news outlet. A news outlet. I think she she knows how games should work, how they should operate, how gaming news should be. Because her, I grew up in an era where games, how it's supposed to be received, how they're supposed to be made, who are they catering to, and how gaming news outlets has supposed to be. I remember reading Game Informer when I was a young kid, and it's vastly different than how, I know we've got blogs and stuff like that now, but compared to back then to how they are now, night and day, because they have not been very unbiased in terms, or trying to keep their personal opinions out of these things. It's supposed to be completely neutral. Everything's got to be their own little personal takes. Or at least whoever's doing the article, they got to insert their little personal takes into it. I don't want to go on a rant here, but I just want to get that off my chest. But here we go.
Obviously, as a woman who plays video games, I think that it's perfectly fine for there to be video games that are marketed to women, but do I think every single game needs to be made for my gender? Of course not. That would be insane and completely disrespectful to all of the men out there who also like entertainment but don't want titles that are all Hello Kitty, Little Big Cities. And now a study has apparently come out, and this research firm has talked about how female players are an overlooked opportunity for growth of monetization, and it is so ridiculous. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, the reason why women like myself got into video games in the first place was because we were talking about good gameplay, good storytelling, an amazing, fleshed out world. I have no problem playing games that are clearly marketed to men because they're just better. I don't want these CEOs and execs and DEI firms to be like, we need to make more money off of women. Let's pump out the Hello Kitty Little Big Cities. Let's add these cringe-worthy rainbow unicorn skins into Call of Duty. That's just stupid. I want to play games as Master Chiefs, as Joel. I want to play games as Nathan Drake. And yes, I do also want to play games as gorgeous women like Eve and Taki and Ada Wong and Lara Croft. I think a product should just be made.
A woman after my own heart. Because I think I played Overcooked one time. Somebody else had it, but I have fun with it. I can play QC games like that, but the game has to be good. First and foremost, it doesn't need to be catering to a hyper specific fan base, but it should obviously there's certain games obviously girls gonna be into, but it should be so good that guys can fall right into it, no problem. The flip effect should work as well. Obviously, Resident Evil is a boys' brand type of game, but girls can get into it too. There's nothing barring them, but you gotta know who the audience is, but also don't be catering or be so rigid in terms of like, okay, we gotta put in pride flags in our Halo, get some pride flag armor. It's like, why? Like, why are you gonna do that? This is like, obviously you're trying to pander. That's the word I was looking for. You clearly try to pander to a demographic that is so small. Even half of that small portion don't really play games like that. So you're not making any money, and you only turn off the wider audience off. You're turning off the wider audience that would normally play these games. It's such a weird mindset with these game development studios. There's only very few that understand, how to market to people, or at least didn't lose sight of how to market to people.
Because the developers want to make it, and if women are actually interested in it, they will show up. But that's not the mindset in the video game industry. If you are not specifically being targeted with marketing, you are a monetization opportunity in their eyes. But we all know when you try to make games for everybody, you're really making them for nobody. And we are about to see another massive waves of products release in this industry that aren't going to draw in any new customers. So the games industry is allegedly overlooking potential for growth by not fully accommodating female players. And what they say in this article is basically women are fucking stupid and they don't know how to play video games. It's so freaking funny to me that they're like, women are so dumb. We need to dumb down these experiences to make it easy for them to click a button. Brother, if women are too stupid, no matter what you do, they're not going to be able to figure out how to play your game. It reminds me of that Sony AI patent that I talked about a month and a
It'll be like, if you have to dumb things down for women, you probably shouldn't do it for them, because it's like, it's almost condescending if you have to dumb things down or lower the bar just to get women to be able to compete. It's honestly, in my personal opinion, I think it's honestly insulting, and doing the reverse. What what you're intending to do is empowering women, but no, you're not empowering them. You're lowering the bar just so that they can be able to reach to certain places. You're not like, you're really not being as fair as you think you are.
half ago or 2 months ago, where Sony wants to put an AI system in their game that will take control of your character and complete an entire section for you if you want it to. It's like they're making those systems for women. Those women are not going to play video games. That's for sure. So the firm, which combines consumer research with 46,000 global respondents annually, gaming market data and forecasts, and title-level sales and tracking data, says there are steps that can be taken to get more women interested in playing video games. Again, I, as a woman, have always loved video games, not because they were specifically marketed to my gender, and I think that is perfectly fine. Just make a game you feel passionate about, and men will show up to play it, women will show up to play it, anybody will show up to play it if they simply think it looks good. It says women represent 48% of the gaming population.
That's playing women's into Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. Clearly, a game meant for everybody, but obviously is something guys will naturally be drawn into. But it's so good that plenty of girls I've known play Street Fighter, play Mortal Kombat, can really know the lore and stuff like that, have their favorite character, often cosplay as those particular characters. There's plenty of girls who love Cammy. They play Cammy a lot, have Cammy little figurines. It's just like knowing, okay, just make a great game with great characters, layered characters, a fleshed out world. People will just naturally be drawn to that because you put in the effort when creating this game, not just to cater to a specific fan base. You should treat it like everybody's potential fan base, because your only concern is making good games. That is your only concern. Clear Obscure Expedition 33, Sandfall understood that. That's why they made earned so many awards last year. It is honestly, I think it almost broke records. That's how I feel, because it's like they just constantly just winning because they understood. They didn't do it just a niche market, like, oh, we only made this game for the French. No, we made this game for everybody. We made just like a great story that we wanted to tell.
In which this is already an extremely inflated number because this also takes into consideration mobile gamers. And if we're just talking about females who are playing console games, that number tanks. They say, though, that the difference represents 93 million fewer female gamers than males, and this is an opportunity for growth. This represents a gap in the market that could be considered a missed opportunity with potential to increase monetization and engagement. When you make a game for everybody, you really are making a game for nobody. They go on to say, it notes that when given a list of reasons for not playing games, women are more likely than men to choose I don't like the culture or community, or it's hard to find games that suit my needs. There has been a push for a decade in this industry for women to feel more welcome and for products to be made more for women than they were for men. If you haven't gotten women interested in your games by this point, you're not going to, and you need to just admit defeat. It concludes then that the main barrier to entry for some women isn't a lack of money or time, but the lack of games with themes that appeal to them and gaming culture that doesn't appeal to them. And this indicates that there's a subset of female non-gamers who are interested in gaming but lack the education around how to play these games and what content is out there. So let's say, for argument's sake, I'm a new woman, I want to learn to play video games. Oh, I saw an ad on a YouTube or a Twitch or something for a game. You know how I can become educated? This little device right here, the pocket computer. Okay? It's just that simple. Stop saying women are too fucking stupid to learn how to play video games. If they're actually interested, they will find a way, because we are surrounded by technology that will give us the information that...
If women can't do something basic as do their own research or ask people that are more familiar with like games, then they either are too lazy or they just don't care. If a woman who hasn't really gotten into comics but they want to get into comics, and they ask me, a guy who reads a lot of comics, like, what's a good starting point? I think it's a little bit easier with DC than it is with Marvel, but I tell them, like, when it comes to DC, I would say you can start off with something like DC Rebirth, because that's really like a good, like a smooth transition in a lot of ways. I really like the Rebirth era. I think that is because they always completely fresh, and the writers trying to like honor the legacy of yesteryear to bring into like like good mix into like the modern day stuff. I think like Rebirth, good clean slate, start off fresh from there, and then I can say like, oh, if you want to go back to past stuff, I can recommend Batman Year One. I can recommend Superman for All Seasons. I can recommend even like DC Earth One stories. They're pretty good. You can like branch off from there and work your way. Or even something like certain Elseworld stories, or if you want to like bounce around, or even if you want to get into certain events, I can suggest like the first DC Dark Knight's Metal, but I think you probably have to work up to that, or you can work your way to like after you read a significant amount of older stories, you can check out the first Crisis event. But like I'm saying, like you got to work your way up. Or if it was something like Marvel, a little bit difficult. You probably should like start off with certain number ones, like the like you probably just gotta throw yourself in certain older Marvel comics, because they don't have like a rebirth. They always got so many number ones, and so many stuff get canceled and restarted, like Doctor Strange being a good example. So that one, like, you got to like like if you want to get into like Doctor Strange, it's like, okay, how about you check out like Doctor Strange Way of the Weird, go from there, and or Doctor Strange was the one with him teaming up with Doctor Doom. It was like an older story. I forgot what it's called, but you can go work your way with that, or like the origin story of the Fantastic Four. Like I did like at least a couple of stories up on the channel with Fantastic Four that you can like start off with. Usually stuff in like the well, matter of fact, I would go with like, okay, if you want to start with certain Marvel stuff, just pick something out of like somewhere between the 80s, anything in the 80s, and work your way through the decade until you get into like the mid 2000s. You pretty much be fine. Not saying like everything in Marvel related was like awesome, but around that chunk of time, you can throw a rock. You might you end up hitting a pretty good Marvel comic. In my personal opinion, it wasn't until like the mid 2000s when things get shaky. Then you got to be a little bit more mindful about what you pick up. Anyway,
we desire. It's honestly a little bit base that they're straight up admitting they think women are so stupid that they need their.
Basically, what I'm trying to say, just ask respectable people do you trust that were into this stuff for decades. That way they can give you like a point you in the right direction. And when it comes to video games, if you want to get into games, you can suggest like something like Expedition 33 or classics, or I know you have older consoles, but if you get in like like if the PS5 and the Xbox Series S is your first console, or the Nintendo Switch 2 is your first console, they got like Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth. If you want to get into some RPG, that's a good starting point. They very intuitive for the new players. Or you can with your Nintendo Switch 2, they got little packages where you can pay to play older classic games, or even Super Mario stuff. And plenty of Super Mario stuff has been a lot of people's go-to starting point for getting into games, and you work your way up from there. Or if you want to play like some Xbox stuff like Gears of War, 1 through 3 is like a good starting point if you want to get into some shooters. Or Marvel Rivals, that's very intuitive, very good. That if a girl who isn't familiar with games like that ask me, that is something I would recommend. I'm not dumbing it down for any woman. I will tell her this is something that's easy to get into for a lot of newcomers, but you will easily build your skill so that way you can branch off for a more I won't say difficult, but you can play something like some Dark Souls stuff, or Neo, and work your way higher than that. I'm not going to dumb things down to a girl and say like, oh, just play Overcooked. I'm not going to say that to them. And I will give them a good faith answers and recommendations.
Their hands held. I kind of find that a little bit funny. They say, though, that pairing these with popular games, genres, and themes like puzzle or simulation and lighthearted or adventure presents a significant opportunity for monetizing the female gamer audience. Which, yeah, I do think that there, of course, is always a way to make more money. Now, if companies should cross that line, probably not, because you are going to push your real customers away. Now, this article, this report has been getting absolutely destroyed online, and I personally think it's hilarious. A DEI firm paid by DEI dollars and talking to other DEI losers. No, women are not overlooked opportunities for growth in the games industry. No, we don't need more girl bosses. No, lying to companies isn't going to help. Clearly, you want more studios to close. Just because you put words on a screen doesn't make them true. Yeah, they basically are just spewing whatever lies they feel like. It is going to be interesting, though, to see more companies run with this narrative and push more DEI content based off of.
And also, I'll probably be, just to make sure that she, a girl who is trying to get into games, I will also make sure that she stay away from certain games that are pushing agendas or just not focus on story and they are focusing on identity politics, I would recommend staying clear from certain games or games that have ideologies like that interwoven into their games, like Assassin's Creed Shadows, for example. I will like stress that to them. Not saying that I'm barring them for barring girls for getting into those games if they are intrigued by it, but I will at least give fair warning so they because I want to make sure they play good quality stuff. At least know what it is as a good starting point, so it won't taint their experience and a potential love for video games. And before they, so that way they can have an understanding of what bad games are and easily can tell, between something like Assassin's Creed Shadows is vastly different from Expedition 33 because one cares about story, others did not. It's something that you should also have in your back pocket. That knowledge should be in your back pocket.
Straight up propaganda like this. Where the fuck have you been the past 15 years? Boring, recycled ideas with no real logic backing it. Gretchen, stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not gonna happen. Female gamers are an overvalued, exceedingly privileged minority, not the majority you ass clowns keep claiming they are. Take away mobile games and it's not even a 50-50. It's not even close. I have heard this so many times before. Come back when women on a group level are willing to spend as much time and money on games as men do. Playing a free puzzle game on your mobile doesn't make you a gamer. It's been a decade and a half. When are you guys going to stop pushing this whole female demographic being the secret majority or undervalued group in gaming? Some women play video games. Hell, you could say that even a lot of women.
Just because you played like Mario Party one time doesn't make you a gamer. Sorry. Mobile games doesn't count, and you playing Super Mario one time, one afternoon in like a get together or a birthday party doesn't really count you as a gamer. You actually got to because not my, all these like controllers and like various consoles I still have. I got my Xbox One, the Series S, and PS5, PS4. Like clearly you could look at that and say, yeah, he's a gamer, because like I got like tons of hours playing multiple different kinds of games on various different platforms and have various different opinions, and obviously watch certain game awards or game cons and to understand what's coming out and people's opinions on certain games that came out and how their opinions are from playing those games. Clearly I'm in this world. Same thing with like something like comic books or certain TV shows. So I can give like a good legitimate criticism. So you doing one thing one time doesn't count.
Play video games. But if you don't do that bullshit of including Candy Crush and other non-games, as well as understanding that girls mostly play girl games like Stardew Valley, Animal Crossing, Sims, and with a sprinkle of League/Valorant in gotchas, and you will realize that if you want to make money, you should be marketing to men. And yeah, as a woman myself, I want male-focused products to be the center of this industry because they're just fucking better. It's just that simple. I think that we are seeing a massive problem that is about to arise again, where these companies push the girl boss angle, the women as a chance of monetization again, and it's going to be even worse that we have ever seen it before. So I will be following this pretty closely over the next couple of months to see if they put out any more pieces of research like this, which really they're not research, they're just publishing biased information that skews in their political propaganda in favor. But for now, that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this important and informative, make sure to give it a like.
Yeah. I love her take. Yeah, man. Like, let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think. I will see you guys for the next one. Not sure how. I got like a busy day Saturday, so not sure how late it's gonna run. But I'll see if I'll be like doing some type of reaction video. I'm not sure. Depends on how tired I am. I might at the very least play a little bit of Marvel Rivals, maybe if I'm got the strength for it. Anyway, I'll see you all soon. Take care.